I don't know how to do this. I've thought about doing this for a little while. I've tried a couple different times. YouTube won't let me upload certain one of these things. But I, this is a response to a lot of the people out there who are gatekeeping certain people with disability types behind these sort of veiled requests to see their paperwork, their proof. And I don't care for this, and it's frustrating me to no end. I've thought about doing a series of response videos where I ask you if you think I'm qualified to be disabled. I've got all sorts of different things I can talk about. Some of them are diagnosed by doctors, some of them are diagnosed and then revoked by doctors. Some of them are not diagnosed yet. Some of them can't be diagnosed legitimately. And some of them, they're just suspicions that we have. And you don't know which ones are which. And you don't get to decide for me what's valid and what's not. So I've wanted to do something along the lines of a reverse self-diagnosis, where I don't ever talk about whether or not it's diagnosed. I don't ever even talk about what it is. I just tell you about what my struggles are, and whether you think so or not, the accommodations I need to cope with those struggles. Break it down to that. Just what are my struggles? What do I need to be able to cope with my struggles? But the problem with that is that puts it in a scenario of, can you, it puts it in a scenario in which I'm sitting here asking for your permission to be who I am and ask for help and seek my own solutions to live my life the way that works best for my needs. That's not a valid thing to be asking me to do. It's already hard enough for me to function. After the day I've had, it's already a nightmare for me. I'm going to be stressing out. I'm going to get zero sleep. My symptoms are going to get worse. I'm going to get worse. I'm going to downward spiral. I'm already debating whether or not it's just easier to quit life. Don't sit there and pretend like you have the right to question whether or not I need help. Don't sit there and pretend like you have the right to ask me for my papers for proof that I need accommodation. You're not helping me in any way with that kind of behavior. I'm angry about it. It's a backhanded way of just treating people worse than they have any business being treated by you or anyone else. Nobody who's ever done any of this has deserved to be treated by second guessing them and belittling them and punching down and gatekeeping their right to any help or assistance with their lives that they're struggling with. You don't know what people are struggling with. You don't get to tell other people whether or not they have a right to struggle, need help. I've had such a bad day. Such a bad day. And it came out of frickin' nowhere. For 2 years, I've been fighting with my doctor to get somebody to see about some of my neurological issues. I've been going to these doctors and asking, hey, I've had this little bit of problem since I've had COVID. Can we look into seeing what maybe these are? I've had so many problems. And it's made life so much harder. Like, I've been in a burnout so severe, I've never had anything like this that I can ever remember. It's been over a year. It's been 2 years. It's been 3 years of just burnt out. The very act of just getting up and doing anything in a given day is just, it seems like a pipe dream. I've had weeks where I didn't shower all week because it's just too hard. I can't do this alone. But I have to because nobody else believes that I need the help. I've had, like, I can't tell you, like, I've had days where I eat a I eat a meal within 3 hours of waking up. It's just a couple things out of the fridge, nothing, not a real meal even. And then I just can't function for all day long. And it rolls around to 15 hours later, and I've had a total of 800 calories for the day. When I tally it all up, that's how many calories I've eaten all day. Because I just can't do it some days. And to sit there and imagine anybody has the right to tell me that I'm not struggling with anything and I don't deserve help because it's all fake or it's not real. You just think that you're struggling and you're just lazy and you need to do shit. Don't. You're not helping me. You're not helping anybody going through these same problems. You're just making us feel worse. I hate this. And the thing is, like, I've had days like that for months. I've had days where I've been so disrupted with my sleep problems that I get 3 hours of sleep a night, 20 hours awake, 21 hours awake. Can't sleep anymore. I wake up in the middle of the night, 3 hours after going to sleep, wide awake and unable to get back to sleep. Just crushing exhaustion and pain. For anybody to sit there and tell me I'm not disabled, or where's my papers, where's my diagnosis, you don't get to claim life is hard. Life is hard for everybody. It's not the same, dude. And I have good days. I have good days that are worth having. I would have said a couple days ago I was having good days. One little thing can so derail your day. The wound of today has been so deeply set in my soul that there's a desire to escape it. How do you escape a day that's already happened? It's already so ingrained in your mind. Yesterday was a good day. Today, I go to an appointment with a new doctor who's replacing one that I've been struggling to get to acknowledge my concerns for months. I went to the doctor's almost 2 years ago with some concerns that I wish to address. Took him 6 months to set me up for a referral to a neurologist. 6 months. In the meantime, waiting to get into that neurologist, I had my first ever just absolutely terrifying experience with an ocular migraine, where I went blind for a half an hour, followed by a headache so bad that I almost threw up where I was standing. I've never had that before. I've never even had a hangover because I don't drink, so I don't know how it would compare to that. But I was miserable, and it happened 3 times the first week. Or maybe it was 2 times. It's hard to remember at that point. once the next week, 2 times the next week. And then it happened once a week for a little while. Then once every 2 weeks. And then once every 3 weeks. And then finally I had one in July last year. And it was the last one I had. Or so I thought. I woke up a week ago after an argument of my landlord who's disrupted my ability to sleep multiple days in a row. So I had 3 hours of sleep, 21 hours awake for 2 days, and he's up here suddenly at 4:30 in the morning when I'm trying to go to bed, waking me up. I got so angry that it was impossible for me to sleep for the third night in a row. And when I finally did fall asleep, 10 a.m. the next day, I woke up in the middle of the afternoon to go use the bathroom, and my head was pulsing with pain. Like, that's a whole new thing that happened in the middle of last year. Between asking to see the neurologist and getting to see the neurologist, this happened. But then it went away for almost a whole year. So is it real? Is it a real thing? Yes, it's a real thing. You don't know what it's like to experience that. Maybe you do. But at the same time, I have waited so long to see this neurologist and to be just casually dismissed as probably just anxiety or sleep deprivation. Scheduled out for a few months later to run some tests. Scheduled the test, took the test, never got an answer as to how the test turned out. Couple months more go by, follow-up appointment where he at this point he hasn't even acknowledged the migraines yet. He's just talking about a weakness in one of my limbs. That's it. A couple more months go by, schedule for an MRI. Never hear the results of that MRI. Couple more months go by, follow up. Finally listens to me talk about the migraines and just says sometimes migraines occur later in life. Okay, but why is it sudden onset, severe for months on end, at a certain chunk of time where I'm having other symptoms, and then disappear for a year? That seems a little weird to me. But okay. He says, I'm moving, so I can no longer be your neurologist. We don't know who's going to replace me yet. Cool. So they'll let me know when they have the new replacement. Well, a couple weeks ago, I got a notice saying they had a temporary replacement for the neurologist, and I could come in to see him. So I had that appointment literally today. And I show up early after not getting enough sleep. I'm tired. It's 98 degrees outside. I haven't had water in over 12 hours. I've had 3 or 4 hours of sleep. I'm sitting in that doctor's office. This guy comes in, calls me by the wrong name, asks me a few questions, does a little push-pull exercise, has me walk down a hallway. I did everything all right, except for he thinks that this is Parkinson's disease. It's not a standing tremor. It's not a resting tremor. It's a tremor activated by action. I don't know how to respond to this. I'm not getting any real useful treatment from him. And for somebody to say, like, it's not real until you've got a diagnosis, he's not going to diagnose me with this. You don't diagnose Parkinson's. You diagnose it based off of what it's not when you test for everything else it's not. That's where we're at right now. Don't tell me I don't have a diagnosis so I don't have a thing.